twisted youth. What is their dark secret? Are they just misunderstood teenagers or something far more sinister? Beware the terrible truth behind the menace of Twisted Youth!
If I was going to describe this episode, twisted wouldn't be the word. Wasted would work. Definitely wasted. A meteor, or is it a meteorite, lands in a lake at Riverdale and begins to give the lake a strange power. The power of youth. The lake's water manages to get into the Riverdale community due to a water company apparently just filling their bottles up directly at the lake, which I don't think is what bottled source actually means. This causes every adult, because the metabolism of teens and kids aren't affected due to it being too quick, to become younger versions of themselves. Though why it changes both their mind and bodies doesn't really seem to make much sense to me, as I could understand it working on one or the other, but not both. Something that makes me question why they didn't just have it affect them mentally, so they could have gotten more out of adults acting like kids. But since it's quicker to just show that they're young instead of having them act like anything but the same old stereotypes, I guess it just makes it easier. As you can imagine, things go wrong with all the adults as kids, and thus it's up to Archie and the gang to fix it. Which for some reason means putting on a fake dance so they can zap them all back to normal. And I mean literally putting on an entire dance given how it looks. When they could have easily just positioned the beam above the door and let people walk through and just change them back, instead of having something happen before then. The somewhat climax of the episode has the gang trying to stop both Veronica's father and their principal from racing down a dangerous stretch of road, which ends in what should be a horrific car crash, but instead everyone is completely fine. Because science, I don't know. Like I said, this episode doesn't do this change subtly enough, especially since it shows the effects of the lake straight away with Jughead's dog, when really having it slowly occurring would have been far more interesting to build up to. This episode also helps build up my whole theory about Archie and the gang being the only kids actually in Riverdale, as when their teacher becomes young before their very eyes, only Archie and Reggie notice or react to that fact. Everyone else just sits quietly in their seats. So I guess we have an answer then, that really there are no other kids in Riverdale, and all these others are just puppets put in by the school to trick them. So while some characters may have turned back time in this episode can't, and instead ends up at number 9.